From TikTok edits to Halloween costumes and even real-life creations, Squid Game quickly took the world by storm. With its striking contrast of vibrant, playful aesthetics against harrowing themes of survival and desperation, it's clear to see how this show quickly became a global phenomenon. Beneath the suspenseful, emotional, and high-stakes competition, I think Squid Game's most powerful and often overlooked storytelling tool is its architecture. Every space within the series tells a deeper story, whether it's reinforcing the themes of power, control, and class struggle, or manipulating the contestants and the audience psychologically. With the success of Squid Game 2, I thought it'd be a good time to analyze the show's set design and architecture, as I believe the writers and set designers used 3 very specific set techniques to further enhance the story's narratives and thematic concepts. This is analyzing architecture. One of the most unsettling aspects of Squid Game is how it turns childhood nostalgia into something terrifying. Many of the game's arenas are modelled after real-life playgrounds and schoolyards, designed in a way that feels bright, familiar, and safe, despite hiding a darker side. This is a great example of what is known in architecture as liminal space, when something looks familiar but is slightly off, triggering a feeling of unease. A perfect example of this in internet culture is the backrooms, a seemingly endless maze of liminal spaces eerily similar to places we know, but distorted in a way that makes them unsettling. Much like the backrooms, Squid Game takes environments meant for comfort and twists them into something deeply disturbing, trapping its characters in a reality that feels warped, yet recognizable. And I think this is really reinforced in how set production designer Chae Kyoung-Sun described the aesthetic as a quote-unquote scary fairy tale and hyper-reality. Take the giant playground in Red Light, Green Light as one example. The bright pastel colors and oversized dolls replicate the appearance and evoke the emotions of a kindergarten, but the sheer scale of the arena makes them feel unnatural, almost as if the contestants have been shrunk down into toys for the audience's entertainment. Another example is presented in the massive jungle gym and oversized slides in the Dalgona game that reference real-life playgrounds from the 70s and 80s, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Originally a space built to encourage well-being, here they do the opposite, stripping away any sense of control and turning a place usually meant for fun into one of fear. This visual contrast between innocence and horror is essentially what makes Squid Game's setting so psychologically effective. Another aspect of Squid Game's architecture is how it manipulates both the contestants and the audience. Although the show presents the theme of control many times, the most visually striking and iconic example of this is the impossible staircase maze that the contestants walk through between games. Directly inspired by MC Escher's Relativity, the staircases were made to be deeply disorienting, creating an optical illusion where up and down are meaningless, and the climb to the top was never ending. A perfect metaphor for the contestants' lack of control over their fate and their desire to achieve something so unattainable. This manipulation through design is also presented in some of the games. The confusing, maze-like layout of the traditional neighborhood setting presented in the Marble games tricks players into a feeling of comfort, or even the transparent panels of the Glass Bridge game, which provides an illusion of choice, however is close to impossible for a majority of the players. Even the contestants' dormitory is a tool of manipulation. The open, warehouse-like space, with its towering stacks of beds, creates a false sense of community while subtly enforcing competition. The dormitory, in a way, feels like a playground at first, but as the game progresses, it slowly evolves into a prison setting. The removal of individual spaces and the constantly shifting layout strip the contestants of any personal security, making them more susceptible to the psychological effects of the game and the threats that emerge from it. The forced perspective and carefully placed pathways create an environment where guests feel safe, but in reality their experience is being tightly orchestrated. The contestants are led to believe they're playing simple childhood games, but every aspect of the environment is built for control, determining where they go and what they see. It's a design that mimics a sense of freedom while ensuring that almost every outcome has been decided. One of the final techniques presented in Squid Game's architecture is its clear visual hierarchy. The facility, in a way, portrays a clear dynamic of lower and higher class. Nowhere is this divide clearer than in the stark contrast between the player's dormitory and the frontman's sleek, modernist control room. The dormitory strips the players of individuality with its towering stacks of beds, resembling a strange mix between industrial warehouses and World War II labour camps. The claustrophobic arrangement forces players into a brutal survival of the fittest mindset, echoing the dehumanization of lower class workers in a capitalist society. In contrast, the frontman's control room is a place of cold, calculated power. Its dark tones, minimalist design, and sharp geometric forms resemble the locations of corporate elites. Unlike the chaotic dormitory, which breeds fear through competition, the control room is spacious, eerily quiet, and detached from the suffering below. Imagine someone who has never watched a show view location 1 against location 2. Despite having a similar color grading, elements such as the cluster of beds against the spaced-out monitors, small details such as dark versus light, or even the concrete flooring against a smooth finish, quickly reveals which room presents a level of power. The small differences in materiality and composition creates a physical separation that adds to this real-world power divide between the wealthy and their pristine structures and the lower class who struggle in oppressive conditions. The ever-present cameras and heavy surveillance turn the players into prisoners and subjects. The contestants never know when they're being watched, but they understand that disobedience more often leads to death. Much like the visual power dynamic of the pink suits against the green clothing, the contrast between these spaces is a powerful statement on who's in control. Those in power operate in secrecy, untouched by the chaos they create, while those beneath them are surveilled, dehumanized, and forced to act as entertainment for both the VIPs, and most importantly, the audience. What makes Squid Game's environmental setting so unique is how every space is carefully crafted to reinforce the show's core themes: the illusion of choice, the crushing weight of hierarchy, and the transformation of innocence. This is something that both the writer and production designer wanted to achieve: backdrops that weren't just your average production sets, but rather an active player in the narrative.